Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Yarnflakes Podcast. My name is Audrey and this is a Moeke Yarny podcast from the southwest of France. Hi, I hope you are all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I have what I think will be a rather short episode because I know I always say that and then it ends up being 50 minutes. But today I actually have quite a lot of work to do. So yeah, I don't have much time to record, and yeah, I do apologize if I am a bit dazzled. I am really tired. I have been having terrible sleep. I do have sleep issues ever since I was a kid, and like for the past couple of weeks, I probably get like 3-4 hours of sleep at night. I don't know, I can't sleep. So yeah, that's a bit... that's why I put on some really bright lipstick to kind of compensate and look alive and well. I am alive and well, I'm just tired. I will pass, it will pass. But yes, I have just knitting to share with you this week, some progress on my whips and a new castan. That is very exciting. And yes, you can find timestamps to everything in the description down below. So if you want to skip a part of the podcast, you can go and check that out. And there are also links to everything that I talk about, as well as my social media and patterns for sale on Ravelry. Just a quick administrative thing first, regarding test knitting. I know I talked about this in my last episode, but I think last episode was a bit messy, so maybe what I said got buried in my usual nonsense. But I did say don't ask for tests to be a test knitter on YouTube. And as a consequence, almost all the comments on last week's podcast are people asking to be a test knitter. Please don't. I really cannot get in contact with you on YouTube. And also, I'm not sure what pattern you talk about. You don't know what yarn you need. You don't know the deadline. So I'm not sure that you really know what you're asking. So the test knitting calls happen on Instagram. I know not everyone is on Instagram, but this is really the simplest way for me to do it right now. I can easily contact you and ask for your information when I want to send you the pattern. And yeah, it's just way easier for me to do it like this. And the problem is, if you contact me on YouTube, on Ravelry, or on email, and you just tell me, I want to be a tester for your shawl, I don't know what shawl you're talking about. If I answer to you on YouTube, you don't see my answer, and visibly, because I answered a few people, and they didn't answer back, and they didn't apply to this test in question. So if you want to be a test knitter, just be on Instagram, and when I need testers for a specific pattern, I put the call, I give all the details, and on Instagram I can contact you. That's how it's easier for me to handle it, and easier for you to know what you're applying for and to get a quick exchange between you and I think I can jump onto some knitting content. I don't exactly know in what order I can show you my whips. No, this is the new one. Yeah, I'm going to show you that. You have seen in the past episode that I have finished one Aliénor socks. Just this is a pattern in progress. And yeah, I just want to show you that I have almost done the second one too. So yay, the pair. This is an upcoming pattern of mine. These are the Aliénor socks, which are a colorwork pair of socks, using like this kind of flowery royal-like motif, and yeah, fairly simple. I have these are being test knitted at the moment, and 3 people that I know of and can remember have at least finished one sock. One has already finished a pair, and they look absolutely lovely. So yeah, it's a quick knit and it's really nice and autumnal. So I just need to make the toe, really. I finished the foot and I'm going to start making the tow as I edit this podcast, and then hopefully we'll take pictures. Pictures of socks are a pain when you're alone and you don't have a decent background. I kind of have an idea to make something different, because I usually take pictures of my sock on my bed. Sometimes there's a cat there. And yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it just doesn't, and it's really unflattering, and the light is bad, and yeah, and you can't really see the motifs. So I have another idea that I will try. But yeah, pattern pictures, everyone. It's something. I have three sweaters, but 2 sweaters in progress that you already know of. And the first one is, I actually don't know where I was on this last week. My Rotur sweater by Fibertales, which is this beautiful decay weight sweater with this brioche and colorwork yoke. That is absolutely stunning. Let me get up a little bit. Actually, this is not good, but yeah, you can see the yoke. Yeah, I have now finished the body. And as you can see, there is a textured hem. This is a linen stitch. I'm not sure that you can really see the details, but here it is. I have tried it on and it fits really well. It is slightly cropped, meaning that it ends on my hips, which is really nice. And yeah, I just have the sleeves to do. And I think this is going to be kind of the theme of the episode. I need to do the sleeves. You'll see why. But yeah, this is an absolute joy to knit, and I am really I think the solution for me to like brioche is sweaters, because yes, brioche shawls are beautiful and there's a few that I really want to make, but yeah, I don't know, I wish there were more brioche sweater designs, because you can really do, like, this is fairly minimalistic and elegant. It's just the increases that make this kind of tree roots effect, and I really, really like it. And I think that you can make a lot of different things. I have another pattern that I want to make on my queue, and it's the Moeke sweater by Rosa Pomar, which is a simple one color brioche sweater with some garter color and hems. And I just think it looks really nice and elegant, just unicolor brioche sweaters, and you can even make motifs like this. And if you want to make a 2-color brioche, I mean, possibilities are amazing. Like, for example, there's this sweater in a past issue of Len magazine that is a black sort of textured brioche. Like, there's a few cardigans, but that they are in fisherman's rib, which is kind of the same, but it's not the same, thing. But yeah, more brioche yoke sweaters, please. That's really nice. And yeah, so the linen stitch went nicely. It's nice and snug because linen stitch has 0 give. Lerge recommends to go up a needle size for the linen stitch. I didn't, because I wanted it to go in and maybe have some sort of a blouse effect, and my yarn is rather thin, that's quite hard, rather thin for a decay weight, so I didn't want to have, even though it means that my linen stitch is very tight, I think it looks really nice as is, and if it were bigger, I'm not sure I would have liked it as much, and this kind of looks nice all together. So the yarn I'm using is Filcolana Gotlandsk Pelsuld in the rust colorway, and the contrast color was Tukuwool Fingering in the Uyo colorway. And yes, I really want to make the sleeves on this because I think it's going to be a really nice autumnal sweater, although probably late autumn / winter, because the way things are going right now, I mean, you can see summer dress, because hey, it is still more than 30 degrees, and yeah, it's not really like Indian summer because it just never stopped. So yeah, I need to make the sleeves. Another thing I need to make the sleeves for is the test knit that I am doing for Fibre Tales. This is the Fjer Cardigan, and so it's a cardigan that's knit in pieces, that is knit in fingering weight. It's a boxy cropped V-neck cardigan with dropped shoulder sleeves, and it has like really interesting texture details, and it's the body is done. Basically, I have finished. Like I can't see, like I can't show you like this back, and there are fronts attached to it. So I have finished the back, the fronts. I have done a 3. Can I show you just the 3 needle bind off? Yes, I have done a 3. Like these are little short rows. See when I tell you that German short rows are not invisible? There it is. This will block out though. Most of it will be blocked out. I've done a 3 needle bind off, which I really like. And yeah, I have also seamed the sides, and this is so pretty. There's a split hem. This is, yeah, I'm showing it quickly because I can't, yeah, I don't want to show everything yet. But yeah, this is really, really pretty. And seaming the sides and seeing the textures come together is really beautiful. And I think it's really satisfying that it was knit in pieces, because you could have sort of had the same effect in the round, but I think that the fact that it's seamed, it tightens the motif. It's a sort of a cable in 2 parts, and it tightens the motif, and it is so satisfying to just seam it up and see the cabley bits. It's like, yeah, sort of cable, come together and form the actual finished motif. It's really beautiful, and I really like it. And I left the hole for the sleeves. So I need to knit the sleeves. And the sleeves are knit in the round top down, and then they are mattress seamed here. Why wouldn't you pick them up, you ask me? Because the way this cabley thing work, and I'm going to show you the wrong side of it, it leaves an edge stitch that is rather loose. And so I think, and that's what Lerga says, that if we pick up from here, one, I'm probably going to end up with holes. 2, it might be quite loose for a sleeve seam. So I understand why she wants us to mattress seam it, and I am okay with mattress seaming in that direction. I hope it will be okay with the sleeve cast on. Should be okay. It should be alright. I should get away with it. I'm losing my words. But yes, so I need to make the sleeves, and I think I also need to knit the button band. So if you look at the front, it's a V. There's some shaping here happening to make a V-neck. So I think I will make a sleeve, a button band, and a sleeve, just to break the sleeve monotony. Although they're going to go quite fast because it's a drop shoulder, so it's only starting here, and the yarn I'm using is so plump and it just goes so quickly that I can easily knit continental with it, which is not, I'm not comfortable knitting continental with most yarns, but this one I am. I am using the Rerum Natura Albertine, which I have already praised. It's really nice, plump, round, great definition. I love it. This is the color Crépuscule. which is really nice, and it will make a really nice basic cardigan. In last week's episode, I don't know what happened with me. You know, the Arles Merino situation. So the yarn is 90% Arles Merino from Arles in France. Well, no, Merino d'Arles. Arles Merinos, which is a breed of sheep. And 10% mulberry silk from China. Yeah, I don't know, I got all messed up in what I was saying, and of course it's not because it's an Arles Merino that it's necessarily living in Arles. No, but it so happens that it does say that the origin of this is in Provence, so it's probably in the area. But yeah, it's a lovely, beautiful, organic merino silk blend, and I really love how it ends up. And yeah, I have tried the cardigan on, and maybe I can try it on to show you. It's rather cropped. It doesn't work with the short sleeves thing, but it's rather cropped. I'm trying to see that everything stays sort of rolled. This is my waist, and it's here. And yeah, it's on the upper part of my hips as well. And yes, so regarding the fit, I'm getting something that is nice and comfy, and there's not even the button bands, which will add, I guess, this. And I'll probably wear it closed, though not necessarily. I rarely wear my cardigans closed anyway. But this I might, because it's a V-neck, so you can just loosely tie some buttons at the bottom, and that's how it goes. You can see the details on the sleeves. So yes, sleeves need to be done, and a button band, and yeah, I'm gonna prioritize this over Rotur because one, it's fingering weight, so it makes more sense. Two, it's a test and it needs to be finished. So yes, I believe this is all as far as works in progress that you know of, and I really went quick on that. And yeah, the last project I want to talk to you about is a new cast on, and it is a new sweater design. So it will be my second sweater design, and yeah, I am really excited about this because it's a long time coming. I have basically gathered 4 or 5 sweater ideas that are defined and sketched and everything, and so I kind of need to knit them now, because who knew that if you just keep the design in your head, it's not working. But yeah, this is my next sweater design, and so it's going to be a top-down raglan sweater with thicker raglan lines, boxy, a little bit cropped, with a colorwork panel at the bottom. So far it's just stockinette. With some shaping arrangements. I have written most of the pattern out, and I'm just following it now. And the thing I wanted to talk to you about regarding the shaping is this. So I wanted it to be a raglan, and the thing with raglan sweaters is that you usually start knitting them flat so that the back of the neck is higher, and that is working really well. It's great. But the thing is, when I'm making a sweater that is simple enough that it can possibly be someone's first garment, I really like when the things are in the round from start to finish, because I believe it makes the construction very transparent, and that people are kind of able to understand how things work, and that they may use that construction for future reference if they want to just make a different sweater and just need a certain type of raglan's mat. But the thing is, obviously, if you knit in round from the neckline to the finish, you kind of have a problem with elevating the back. So you get the advantage of the sweater looking like a sweater and looking finished as you knit it, which I think is really satisfying. It looks like a sweater. I do like also picking up neckline and adding the finishing touch at the end and seeing the thing transformed. But in the sense of it being rather transparent sweater construction, so to say, I did want to prioritize the fact that it looked good and was satisfying to knit from the start. And the thing is, you make short rows if you want a higher neck. You may not do anything and have a rather wide open neck, but I don't quite like that. And if you make short rows in the round on a raglan, the problem is the raglan line will not start from the bottom of the neckline. Basically, it will be a little bit offset at the back, which is not dramatic in most cases, I think. Also because it makes the sweater sits rather flat on your shoulder. But for this, because I'm using such a rustic yarn, which I will get to in a minute, and I wanted thick raglan lines. So you see, this is like 3 stitches. If this would be offset in the back, if it wouldn't start at the neckline, I think it would look, I wouldn't have liked how it looked. Obviously you can make short rows and the raglan shaping at the same time, but again, it makes the construction seem, it's not complicated, but it seems more things to handle at once than what I wanted to for a sweater that is going to be rather straightforward. So my solution is simply to put the short rows in the ribbing. And I really like that. I really like shaping in ribbing. I think it makes really interesting visual thing. It makes like sweaters that look a little bit more chunky and countryside. You know, it's like shawl colors that when they're shaped so that they're really thick at the top and then they go down thinner with short rows. I think this is really interesting. So I just decided to go for this on this neckline, and this is what I ended up with. And it looks quite funny when you look at it from the side. When you wear it, it's fine. But yeah, so basically I did German short rows because in ribbing, what's good is that you don't really see the short rows. And yeah, this is how I ended up with the neckline higher at the back, like I wanted. So yeah, I have just separated body and sleeves and checked the fit because I wanted a rather loose body but sleeves to be fitted, so I had to adjust the raglan depth and increase ratio for this. And yeah, I managed to make it work and grade it because the pattern is already graded as well. And yeah, I tried it on and it seems like it's a good match. I now want to make the sleeves first because I need to figure out the sleeves shaping. And also because I want to have the long sleeves done so that I can make a better usage of my yarn and knit the body not too long and then run out of yarn for the sleeves. So for this as well, I need to make sleeves. So it's 3 sweater, 6 sleeves. Yeah, it's okay because they're so different. They're so different yarns and patterns that I think it's gonna be alright. The yarn I'm using. The yarn I'm using, as you can see, is a very rustic, textured, uneven thing. And it is Moeke Yarns Elena. So Moeke Yarns is a brand of Romanian yarn, and it's the first time I try it, and yeah, it's a bit silly because it was rather obvious for me since I love rustic natural yarns and have a connection to Romania from my boyfriend, who is Romanian and lives there. It seemed rather obvious that I would try this yarn, but I hadn't so far. So if you don't know, I believe her name is Yuna. She wanted to kind of refresh the usage and tradition of wool and yarn making in Romania from Romanian sheep, because the traditions in Romania are kind of going lost. Not many people knit in Romania anymore. Like what I see when I go there, most people in like our parents' generation, like in their 40s, 50s, like women used to do a lot of weaving and rug hooking, and they knew how to knit as well and crochet. But what I mostly see now are weaving, like carpets, weaving rugs, hooking thingy, and crochet blankets and crochet thing. And the knitting scene in Romania seems fairly inexistent. Now, obviously, I don't know the whole country and things, but even if you look online, it's really hard to find any sort of yarn shops or anything. And when I've been to some sort of a crafty store, it was mostly fabrics, because they do have lots of fabric shops. Although, from what I understood, they don't sew their clothes themselves. They still have a lot of tailors. So they would buy the fabric and go and have their dress made for the incredible amount of weddings that they have to attend. Because Romanians get married a lot. But which is quite funny from a French perspective, where like no one gets married anymore. No, I'm exaggerating, but really, like, there's a lot of weddings around my age and even younger than me. And so, they have lots of fabric shop, and there was a little bit of yarn in that, but it was, like, I want to say crochet yarn that's really hard on the crocheters. But, the thing is, since most of the handmade things that I've seen are either, like, really basic carpets, woven carpets, or crochet blankets and decor things. The yarn was acrylic, just pure acrylic, and maybe there was some cotton, though I didn't see it. I only saw acrylic. Turkish brands a lot. I assume that they have some sort of similar approach as Turkey and the Middle Orient, which are very into crochet and acrylic thingy, because they're not wearing hand-knitted things so much, which in Romania is stupid, because they have very cold winter. And they put layers and layers of polyester clothes on them in the winter and complain that they're always cold. It's not that cold, by the way. They're like my boyfriend thought I would be freezing. It was barely -5 degrees Celsius when I was there in December. That's not so cold. So, I don't know. I like cold, so maybe that's where my sensibility is different. But they don't wear wool clothes, and it's a bit unreasonable for me to have that point of view, because accessing clothes and natural fibers and, not necessarily fancy thing, but just having an appreciate how things are made is really not a concern for most Romanian people, which is totally normal when you just are not even sure that you're gonna have food to eat. So so the knitting thing there is a bit not there. And what happens is that, like in most places, shepherds just burn the wool of their sheep. The wool, selling wool is not that valuable, and so it is really a shame. And the creator behind Moeke Yarns, she decided to gather wool from shepherds around where her parents are, and kind of make like an artisanal, traditional type of yarn, and yeah, kind of creating something to sort of revive that tradition of Romanian yarns. And she had she has, I think it's still ongoing. She has a crowdfunding campaign because she wants to put a wool washing station and mill, and develop her brand further. And I think that's amazing. I'm really impressed and happy that this brand exists. She is where the whole thing is happening is in Biharia, which is rather close from where my boyfriend is. Actually, it's about 100 kilometers only, which is a 2-hour drive because this is Romania. But yeah, so it's quite funny that it's also close. So yeah, traditional Romanian made Romanian sheep yarn, and I decided to get the yarn that is the most commonly, like they have a few different types, but the one that I find is the most commonly available is Elena, which is a single yarn. And Audrey, you're making a sweater out of a single yarn. Yes, but I mean, look at that thing. One, it is really twisted. It's really strong. As you can see, like the twist is rather extreme. I think it depends on the whole unevenness of the yarn, because it is a rather uneven thread. Depends on the lot, because I have a brown here and it is much more regular than the natural one. So yeah, I think I got a rather uneven thing with the natural ones, which I don't mind, you know. It's a whole interesting process. So that is also why I decided to hand wound the yarn into balls, because saying this, I'm like, putting it into a cake is just not going to work. And I kind of wanted to appreciate the yarn, discovering it like little by little while I was making the balls and arranging things, like taking off the vegetable matter. There's not so much of it, there's a lot, but you know, there's also like some uneven bits in the spinning process. Like there were parts that I think I kept a bit. Let me go and grab it to show you. Yeah, there were bits in the yarn that I had to just cut off, because there were like 3 bits in one big skein that started having this, like with the fibers detached from it, and then that thing, which stretches like just like an elastic, and that is just not happening in my sweater. So there were a few bits like this that I had to cut. One more thing about the yarn is that I had to wash it when I received it, and I don't really like doing this because of the lanolin that gets taken off when you wash a yarn too much. But when it arrived, it smelled really bad. Like, I believe it was the spinning oil that was really strong. And yeah, I'm not really sensitive to these things usually. Like, I like whole yarn which has the spinning oil, and I don't smell it so much. I just smell it being a bit sheepy and the lanolin smell. But this was really it was really a spinning oil smell. And I just put it next to me on my desk while I was working at the computer for a little bit, and it just gave me a headache. So I decided to wash it. So I washed my skeins beforehand, and now they're smelling nice and woolly and soapy. But yeah, now it's gone. So yeah, just a little heads up. If you get some of Moeke yarns and you don't like spinning oil smells, you might need to wash it beforehand. But yeah, since it came in a hank, it's not a problem. I know some people are really sensitive even to the spinning oil that is in cakes yarn, and it's in a cake, so it's really, you can't really wash it. It's annoying. But this was easily washable, so I did that. And yeah, I got 2 big skeins. So they arrive at different quantities as well. Like sometimes it's 50, sometimes it's 60 grams, and I kind of managed to get 2 skeins of 170 grams, so that's about 800 meters, and one of 50 for the brown. And yeah, so it looks like the yarn is very different depending of the batch that you get, and yeah, it's you know that you get a raw material, and I was not disappointed. I knew I was going to have to work with it and to treat it differently and discover it. And yeah, as you can see, even though it's a single, if I want to break the yarn like this, I can't. It's really strong. This thing is not coming off anytime soon, and it's definitely not going to pill. But yeah, I really enjoyed the process of discovering the yarn by winding it into a ball to knitting it, because there are really thick and thin bits and pieces in my skeins, and so yeah, it makes this sort of really rustic sweater type that really screams handmade. I'm really curious to see how much it's going to be smoothed out when blocking. I hope it will be smoothed out a little bit, but you know, it's the process, and I knew this is what I was getting with that yarn, and it's a really interesting material. The breed used in this is Tsigaye, so it's a T, but in Romanian it has a little tail under it, which is a different letter, which is pronounced Ts. So it's a Tsigaye, and I think the English name for this sheep is actually Tsigai, and it's written Tsigai. So Tsigaye in Romanian, Tsigai in English, and it's the second most common breed in Romania, I believe. And it's a breed that's really interesting because it's one of the dry wools, so it has the softness of some sort of merino derivative. You know, it's not prickly like Lopi and Shetland yarns. It's a dry type of yarn, like some Retrosaria can be, and some the Rerum Natura are, the woolen span versions of the Rerum Natura. It's dry, which is why I believe that if you are sensible to yarns and if you'd like to branch out from superwash merino, I think it would be a nice idea, because it's dry. It's not itchy or prickly. It's just dry. And yeah, the Tsigaye sheep, they have a really, really strong wool, and yeah, this is about a sport decay weight because of how uneven it is. I had some hesitation as to what gauge I would knit it up. I opted for like between 19 and 20 stitches. I will see when blocked how much it's changing, but yeah, I'm having sort of a decay gauge. Yeah. And this is how it looks so far. And so there will be color work at the end with the brown. They also have, all of these are natural colors, they also have a grey one. And she also naturally dyed some, I believe, for her crowdfunding campaign. But yeah, this is my next sweater design, and I'm really excited. And yeah, the reason I wrote out the pattern and graded it and did everything beforehand is because I knew I had to handle the yarn and work with it. Like, it's the yarn that, you know, it doesn't pretend to be perfect in industrial terms. And so I knew I was getting a rather raw material and that it was going to be like a different experience. And so I wanted to deal with that and not with too much designing math and things. So that's why I wrote out the pattern. Now I just need to work to knit it, basically, and figure out the sleeves, which I will do now, I hope this week. And yes, I'm really, really curious. I'm tempted to block now the raglan, but that is ridiculous, because I need to wait for it to dry, and that just adds more time to the process. But yes, I am enjoying this. Now I'm just going to go straight on the sleeve, straight on the body, and work my colorwork piece at the bottom. And I hope you will like it when you see it. Because right now it's just a raglan. It will be the Feriga sweater, which is fern. It means fern in Romanian. And yeah, I could say, if I understood correctly what my boyfriend tried to explain to me, is that Feriga means just a fern, and Feriga would mean the fern, because Romanian is a very it's a Latin language, but it kept a very Latin grammar. And so, as it happens, it still has declensions like Finnish do. Yeah, it still uses changes the word to have plural and to designate with articles. It doesn't have articles, it just changes the end of the word, which is why Feriga apparently is not the same. But yeah, I would ideally have gone for a fern, but the is not an A, it has an accent, and I can't use the accent everywhere because then it just gets messed up in everyone's formatting options. So I think it will just be Feriga, and that will be easier on everyone. But yes, I hope you will like it. I can't wait to have it look like something. And yeah, so sleeves, and I think that is all I had to share with you this week. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, indeed, I think it's a shorter episode than usual. Yeah, I am going to leave now. Edit this, put it out for you online, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're gonna have a lovely week, and yes, I will see you next time. Bye!